Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome everyone in today's class for the second elementary grade. Our book today is Week 2, and today we are covering Unit 2, Friends, Action and Things, the phonics part. This lesson will be presented by me, teacher Mazen Al-Harbi, and the sign language by Mr. Fawaz Al-Agil. So let's begin. Our objectives in today's lesson: we hope that at the end of this lesson you will be able to produce the 3 types of plural s, and also ask questions using do, and design a simple questionnaire, and ask questions using whose with different items, and use and, but, or in meaningful sentences. So we hope that we can cover all of this at the end of this lesson. Before we begin, let's make a quick revision on our last lesson. Last lesson we had a chant, and this chant was special because it talks about food and the taste of food. So for example, the first part of this chant was about food like apples, lemons, cherries, and soap. And also we talked about the taste of these food. We said apples are sweet, lemons are sour, cherries are sweet, and soap is hot. And also other types of food, like for example the ice cream, we said that, and rice and chips. So we said also ice cream is cold. Ice cream is cold. Rice is hot. Rice is hot. Chips are salty. Chips are salty. So this chant was about food and was about the taste of food. Also, we did play a game when we say that imagine any type of food and ask your friend to ask 3 questions to guess what the food is. And here we had example with Ali and Saeed. When Ali asked his friend Saeed 3 questions just to trying to guess what the food is. He said, for example, is it cold or hot? And Saeed said, it's cold. He asked him again by saying, what color is it? Ali said, it's yellow. Also he asks again, is it sweet or sour? And Ali said, it's sour. So when Saeed thinks, okay, it is cold, it's yellow, it's sour, and it is a fruit. So the answer is lemon. And at the end, we learn how can we talk about the food that we like and the food that we don't like. For example, Saeed said, I don't like lemons. I like oranges. And I gave example of myself when I said, I like tomatoes. I don't like apples. And you did the same as well. So now, I would like you please to open your books on page 16. I would like you please to open your books on page 16. On page 16, here we're going to learn about the different s sounds in the plural. So here we have different types of food, and each one of them has different sound at the end of this food. So what we are going to do is that I'm going to pronounce these different types of food, and after this I'm going to point, and then you can repeat after me. So let's begin with the first one. Apples. Apples. Say s. Apples. Apricots. Apricots. Say s. Apricots. Onions. Onions. Say z. Onions. Cookies. Cookies. Say is. Cookies. Chips. Chips. Say s. Chips. Sandwiches. Sandwiches. Say z. Sandwiches. So you see, all of these different types of food ends with different sound. So again, now I'm going to point at the food and the sound, and you can repeat after me. But remember, this sound is s, and this sound is z, and this sound is is. Okay? So let's begin with the first one. Apples. Apples. Say s. Apples. Apricots. Apricots. Say s. Apricots. Onions. Onions. Say z. Onions. Cookies. Cookies. Say is. Cookies. Chips. Chips. Say s. Chips. Sandwiches. Sandwiches. Say is. Sandwiches. You see, these are different types of food, ends with an S, but each one of them pronounced differently. Some we pronounce them with s, like apricots and chips. And some of them we pronounce or ends with z, like for example, apples and onions. And some of them ends with z, like for example, cookies and sandwiches. So it's very important that we practice on them even more. So now, one more time, I'm going to say it and you repeat after me. Apples, apricots, onions, cookies, chips, sandwiches. Very good. Now let us move on to the second part, and here in this part we are going to learn a new question, which is what's in your bag? What's in your bag? So here we have two friends having a conversation. Let's read this conversation and then we can highlight some of the important words here. So, do you have apples? No, I don't. Do you have sandwiches? Yes, I do. Do you have orange juice? Yes, I do. So, if you want to ask about what's in your friend bag, you start your question with do. Do. Do you have apples? Do you have sandwiches? Do you have orange juice? And we use this question that starts with do if you want to know whether if someone has something or not. Do you have a pen? Do you have a glass of water? So we use do just to know whether if someone has the things that we need or not. So in this conversation, she asks her friend, do you have apples? No, I don't. Here we use no. If we don't have, no, I don't. And she asks again, Do you have sandwiches? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Other question. Do you have orange juice? Yes, I do. If you have something, you answer the question that starts with do by saying, yes, I do. And now we can learn by listening to this conversation that she has sandwiches and orange juice. So she has sandwiches because, do you have sandwiches? She said yes. So she has sandwiches. And also sandwiches and orange juice. Because when she asked her, do you have orange juice? She said yes. So she has two, sandwiches and orange juice. And here with the second one, she has orange juice, but she doesn't have apples. Okay, she has orange juice, but she doesn't have apples. So when you have something, we use usually but when something is good and something is not good. So it's good she has an orange juice. It's not good she doesn't have apples. So this is why we use but. And we use and when we have two. So we have orange sandwich, orange juice, and a sandwich, and a sandwich. So we use and when we have two things. Now, I would like you to ask a similar question to your friend. So have a list as this. So here is the food. You have apples, sandwiches, orange juice, carrots. This is about food and about school things, books, notebooks, a poster, pens, and ask him. Ask him about this. So say, for example, hello, my friend, do you have apples? If he says yes, here we put yes. Do you have sandwiches? If he says no, here we said no. And we can come up with a sentence by saying, he has apples, but he doesn't have sandwiches. Also about school things, you can ask your friend, hello, my friend, do you have books? He says yes, here we put yes. If he says no, here we put no. And if we ask him again, do you have notebooks? If he says yes, here we put yes. And we can say, he has books and notebooks. So I ask my friend this question. I ask him, do you have apples? He said yes. And I ask him again, do you have sandwiches? He said yes. And I ask him again, do you have orange juice? He said no. So here I can say that my friend, he has apples and sandwiches. He has apples and sandwiches. But he doesn't have orange juice. But he doesn't have orange juice. So you can make similar table when you ask your friend, your father or mother, your sister or brother. Ask him by using the same table. And I want you to open your books on page 17. I would like you please to open your books on page 17. Now, on page 17, we're going to learn a new question, which is, whose is that? For example, whose pen is that? Whose hat is that? Whose bag is that? When we have something that belongs to someone, we can know who is that someone by asking whose. So here, let's see this conversation. Sarah asks her friend Sabah by saying, "Whose hat is that?" Sabah says, "Maybe it's Nora's." And Sarah said, "Let's ask her." So if you want to know who is that thing for someone, you can ask by saying whose. So for example, let's have a look here at these four people. So here we have Abdullah, we have Noura, we have Nawal, and we have Faisal. And here we have different items. And if you want to ask who's of each of these items, we can choose one person from here. So let's begin. So let's imagine that, or let's talk about this laptop. Whose laptop is that? Whose laptop is that? Maybe we can say it's Abdullah's. So here we can just direct it to Abdullah's. The other item, a skirt. Whose skirt is that? Whose skirt is that? It's Nora's. So here we can match the item to Nora. Next, whose book is that? Whose book is that? Is it for Abdullah, Nora, Nawal, or Faisal? It's Nawal. So here we can direct it to Nawal. And finally, the pencil. Whose pencil is that? We have Abdullah, Nora, Nawal, and Faisal. Whose pencil is that? It's Faisal's. So we can direct it toward Faisal. So on your books, you have different items similar to this with for friends, Abdullah, Nora, Nawal, and Faisal. So you can ask the question, whose, and choose the item. For example, whose shirt is that? Whose jacket is that? Whose skirt is that? Whose pencil is that? And choose the person that this item belongs to. So now, at the end, it's very important that you know that you can make the sounds for sounds, ask and answer with have, and use and or but. Have, like for example, when you said, do you have apples? Do you have sandwiches? And also we said, if you have two things, you can say, I have sandwich and orange juice. If you have one thing and don't have the other, you can say, I have sandwich, but I don't have orange juice. And also to ask and say whose something is using a name. So if this thing is for Abdullah, we say it's Abdullah's. If it's for Noura, we say it's Noura's, and so on. And now we have reached the end of our lesson. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.